Hi, welcome to another proven sales letter breakdown video. And yes, this is a proper sales letter breakdown video because in my last one, I broke down 3 different emails. But if you're interested in emails, definitely go check them out. I'm going to leave a link below this video to the entire playlist. But today we have a sales letter from Merrill Lynch, which was written in 1979, and it really feels like a letter. Okay, if I just scroll through it, it's not that long. Probably it was sent to people by mail, obviously like a direct letter. But we've learned from people like Gary Halbert how powerful direct mail was. It still is, by the way, especially with all the changes that are happening with like digital marketing tracking codes nowadays. You know, Facebook and Google are both implementing new privacy measures that will make it really hard to track certain things with your ad campaigns. And these types of letters, I mean, they can still, I believe that they're going to experience a renaissance soon, again, by some savvy marketers. But let's just see what makes a letter like this so powerful. And I don't know exactly who wrote this. I just found this and I liked it because it sells basically investment and tax optimization tips for high net worth individuals. So let's just see what's happening here. But before we do that, before I forget, please make sure to like the video if you enjoy this type of content. Also, if you're new to the channel, then do consider subscribing because I have tons of other videos in mind for the next few weeks. And also, if you love these types of things and your friends also love them, then make sure to share it with them. But let's see what's happening in the letter itself. So first, we have a logo of the company, which adds importance to the whole thing. Like people start feeling like, oh, why is Merrill Lynch sending me a letter, right? They start feeling like they're pretty important. They're VIPs. And throughout this letter, we have this type of communication. We as readers feel like we are treated as VIPs because with high net worth individuals, regardless if they're B2B or B2C, you kind of have to be like more mindful of them. Okay, you have to appeal to their egos a little bit. So in the we have kind of like a professional salute. So we have their full name, you know, we have their address, we have their office address, probably like you can see yellow freight system. So they are probably an executive at this company. And then the salutation also says, "Dear executive." And I like this because it immediately qualifies people a lot. And instead, like, in fact, we also have like specific numeric type of qualifications because at this point, the sales letter says like we are conducting exclusively for executives who make $50,000 to $100,000 or more per year. And keep in mind, this was 1979. So this is like $500,000 now or something like that, which is a pretty healthy salary. So the lead that we have here, because we've learned before in my previous videos that each time you write a sales letter, you have to have a lead, which its job is to basically hook people emotionally and build desire and curiosity for whatever you want to tell them inside the sales letter. But this is a very direct type of offer lead. Okay, the copywriter here isn't really messing around too much. It's just giving to them straight up. It's like, hey, right here in mid-Manhattan, you'll soon be able to turn one of your lunch hours into a golden opportunity. So we have a new opportunity tease. We don't even have a headline, by the way. And I think that this is kind of a mistake. Again, I don't know exactly who wrote this. Maybe they were an A-list copywriter, maybe they weren't. But I think it's a mistake to not include a headline like that. And then the sales letter continues, "You can do it by attending a free luncheon seminar we're conducting exclusively for executives who make a lot of money. This letter is your personal invitation." So we immediately understand what's up. This is a personal invitation that I got in the mail. Probably it looked pretty fancy or pretty important looking, right? Maybe somebody even FedExed it to me. Like Dan Kennedy, a legendary marketer, always talks about the importance of like nobody's ever not opened a FedEx envelope in the history, right? If you get a FedEx, especially if you're not expecting it from someone, you're gonna open it like, wow, what can this be? So then we have a little bit of authority buildup. This is, but very slight, by the way, and this is kind of like typical stuff in sales letters. The special luncheon seminar will be held in the private conference room of our Rockefeller Center office between 12 noon and 1:30. To give you every opportunity to attend, it will be offered on a number of dates soon to be announced. So it sounds official. It's not the type of super friendly copy that we are used to on this channel, the type of copy that Gary Halbert, for example, preached all the time. And I definitely recommend you check out Gary Halbert's letter in the full playlist. That, the link is included below, because like his writing is just so masterful in making you feel like he's your friend, like you know him, right? And he's out there to help you. This one's more professional, but it still uses some nice copywriting techniques. But then again, you have to think about your target audience. Like if this target audience in the 1979 version of an executive when they receive a letter from a financial institution, like most likely than not, they're expecting language like this, right? So even if it's not the emotional type of copy, this is kind of normal, right? And this might work really, really well. So you got to test it. You got to know your audience, your offer, do research on what are the words they're actually using. And if this is it, then that's it. So then we get a little reason why element on why they should attend. We have because is a very powerful word in advertising and copywriting, by the way. So this will alert you to what we believe are the most important tax shelter and investment opportunities someone in their tax bracket should be aware of. So the sentence is also a little bit more complicated compared to what we're used to here, but it makes sense, right? Like these people are educated, they probably understand, they just see the benefit right away. It's like, hey, you'll be able to tax shelter your money. And then we have a few fascinations, basically benefits with a little bit of curiosity of what they'll get. So, for example, we will help you shelter more of your money from taxes with several tax minimization techniques your accountant may not have told you about. So, what are these techniques, right? That's the curiosity element, and shelter more of your money from taxes, that's the benefit. So the first one, the first bullet here, basically communicates, hey, this is how you can pay less taxes. The second one, hey, this is how you can preserve your money better, especially in a time of high inflation, because this is 1979 we're talking about. And the United States experienced a big inflation during these decades, during these years in the 70s. So this was kind of a big pain point for people. And then the third one is how you can earn more. So how to earn more, how to preserve your money more, and how to pay less taxes. The golden trifecta of like getting wealthier, right? So this builds desire in people. And we have a few other extra bullets here as well. How you can pay less for college. Probably very important, a big pain point in this target audience, because like they're around like 40, 50, 60 years old, maybe younger even, I don't know, but at least 40 probably. And they want to send their kids to college, to an expensive college, a prestigious college. Well, that costs a lot of money. So, hey, how you can basically pay less for college. So this is also interesting for them. And other stuff like, hey, how to have a comfortable retirement, how to make sure your insurance is adequate in all areas, and how to avoid too much taxation and more stuff like that. So then we start seeding the product itself, because this is a direct offer. There's no story here or anything. I'm kind of missing it a little bit because I've gotten so used to stories and sales letters, and they're really powerful, especially nowadays. You kind of like have to use a story. You cannot just get away with a direct lead. Maybe if you have a super hot list, or this is just a retargeting offer, then yes. But for most people, for most ad platforms, you have to use some sort of story or some sort of like prediction or something like that, because otherwise, like, people have heard it before so many times. Like, why should they care about your stuff? But back in the 70s, it was cool. So it's okay to seed the product. And this is the end of the lead. So as you can see, it's like 1.5 pages long, which, considering the fact that the whole sales page is 5 pages long, it's a pretty long lead, but otherwise it's not. I mean, a good lead, it's still like it has to include a few elements anyway, so it takes up a few hundred words anyway. So after the end of the lead, like in this letter, I'd like to explain why your key to wealth, protecting more of your money, you make against taxation and inflation. So we have a promise here, and I'm kind of missing proof a little bit. We've learned before, this was probably before Gary Bensevenga really popularized the concept of you always have to back up your promises with proof. He came up with something called proof marketing. So I'm missing proof here. I'm missing social proof or something like that. We basically have a few case studies later on, but specific proof, not that much, not that much. Maybe implied proof, yes, but specific proof, not that much. So after this little subhead here, we have a qualification element, like precisely because you are now in the upper income tax brackets, so this qualifies people. Your ability to amass wealth will depend not only on making money, but holding on to it, protecting every dollar you can against taxation and inflation. So this is kind of head nodding copy. So as people are reading this in our target audience, they're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I want to do that. Then we get an introduction to the problem, like how, you can lose a lot of money if you don't do these. Then we get an agitation part where it's like, hey, but like we have sky high inflation, and it's like you're gonna lose so much money, and if you're spending so much time earning money, wouldn't you like to like preserve it and leave it to your children and stuff like that? So this is agitation. Then we get another look at the new opportunity, which is like, hey, despite making sense that you should do stuff like this, you should optimize your portfolio, most people don't do it, but now you can. We can help you how to, we have a little reason why copy, like why your job is to make money, like you're working hard at a job, so it's not your job to be an expert in tax shelters and real estate and mutual funds and insurance and stocks and bonds and all these other stuff. But we can help you here because we at Merrill Lynch, we've introduced a new service designed specifically for you, an executive who earns between $50,000 to $100,000 a year or more. And this service is called Financial Needs Alert. So at this point, we have like the introduction, the product introduction. We've seen this in almost every single sales letter. Around the halfway mark of the sales letter, we get the product intro. Before that, we have the lead, we have some stories, we have some belief shifting. Here, we don't really have that much of these stuff, but we do have a little bit of belief shifting, a little bit of reason why copy. But we have the product introduced around the halfway mark of the sales letter. And then, as with any other good sales letter formula uses it, like after the product is introduced, we have a little bit of overview of what's inside the product, like what it is exactly, right? Like what do you get? So we have a little bit of like setting expectations, what you learn in this, and allow me to briefly review the highlights. And then we have an explanation of how this whole thing works and what you get out of it. So notice how he's not really focusing too much on features. Like even in 1979, people realized, smart marketers at least, that you don't make a lot of money if you focus on features. You have to focus on benefits and the benefits of benefits. And this one kind of describes the benefits in a more active way. So as it explains how it works, and by explaining how it works, you get a better sense of what the benefits actually are. So you'll get this, you'll get that, you'll basically get a personalized recommendation on what you should put in your portfolio, tailored to your specific situation, from stocks and bonds to real estate and insurance and every other thing that you can think of. And moreover, you also get like a team of representatives watching out for you. Basically, it's like, hey, we want to do the work for you so that you can focus on other areas of your life that you really like to do. And then this is a smart move, actually. There are 3 specific examples of how we can help you. So I love how the copywriter here introduced some case studies, because these do act like implicit proof. So here, these are all promises, so we have to follow them up with proof. So we have 3 specific life situations, and this helps qualify more people, because who knows, maybe a specific person who's reading this, they are a vice president, but maybe another person who's reading this, they're a pilot, and then maybe there could be a third type of person who's reading this, who's like a business owner, who has a dream, and who is like not that super successful yet. So I like these case studies. They definitely dimensionalize these things a little bit. And then after the case studies, we have the new opportunity repeated one more time. It's like there are literally dozens of ways a coordinated financial approach may be able to help you shelter more of your money from taxation and inflation and reach your cherished financial goals. Oh, it's a little bit a mouthful. Like, it's not the best copy ever, but remember, back in those days, for this audience, from a brand like Merrill Lynch, was kind of the expected thing. And Merrill Lynch's specialists can alert you to those which make most sense for you. So yeah, this is basically the promise once again. So promise, proof, promise. And then we have a preemptive objection handling, like a question: how much does the service cost? Because at this point, our ideal customer is thinking about how much does it cost. Okay, I get it, what I get. I've seen the case studies. So how much does it cost? And then we have a price anchor. Basically, the copywriter explains that, this costs Merrill Lynch over $300 to prepare something like this, which is like, yeah, I don't believe it. But then there's a price drop, which also includes a basic reason why. Like, we've talked about why you should explain why you're dropping your price before. So you can just say, just today, 50% off. But why? Like, is there a scam? Is it a defective product? Do you want to I don't know, is it an older version or something? Am I getting something inferior? You have to understand it. Why? Maybe there was a warehouse fire, and that's why you're left with a bunch of packages or something. Maybe you're doing a holiday sale. That's also a basic one. Maybe you've just, I don't know, you had a revelation that you have to help more people, and realize that by offering some stuff at the lower price, you can impact more people. That's what I did, for example, with my From Zero to Copywriting Hero training program as well. It's only $200 at the moment, so it's super cheap. Like, it basically helps you, if you're a wannabe copywriter or a super beginner, it helps you go from zero to like an established copywriter in just a few months. So, by the way, if you want to check it out, link below the video. But yeah, sometimes, it just makes sense to do stuff like this. But I like it how we have the little price anchor here, and we also have the risk reversal, because it says you feel that financial needs alert hasn't proved to be worth many times its cost. So if you feel that, you may receive a complete refund of your $100. So it's kind of like a very basic offer presentation. And then the final page, we have a little bit of more risk reversal. So there's no need to decide on the service now. Just come, join us, and see whether this is a good fit for you. We have one more element of what you get. We have some bonuses, in the sense of, hey, of course, we're going to pay for sandwiches and coffee. And, people like free sandwiches and free food and coffee. Why wouldn't they? So this is basically the first call to action, with a little bit of bonuses explained one more time. We have some scarcity. This is a smart move. Every single sales letter or sales argument should include something like this. And the scarcity is pretty natural here. Again, you have to make sure that your scarcity is natural, because otherwise people will see through it, and it's just not gonna be as effective. And here the scarcity is like, it makes sense. Like, attendance at a place like this is super limited, because remember, we're in mid-Manhattan, right? And we're gonna have this at the Rockefeller Center office. So it's like, whoa, this is something special. So obviously it makes sense that if you want to come, as a VIP, because this is your invitation, then you gotta act quickly. Otherwise, someone else is gonna take your spot. And I like this final philosophical question. It says, the 1 hour that can make 1,920 others more profitable. And this is basically a mini big idea that says that, hey, you already work at least 1,920 hours a year to earn an excellent salary. Doesn't it make sense to spend just one more hour to make the most of this money? Like, duh, of course it does, right? You spend one more hour and you're gonna like save much more of that money, or even compound it over time if you invest it wisely. I love this. But I think another call to action could be is missing from here. Like, you should give another call to action here under this, the 1 hour that can make part. So then we have the personal sign off. Again, very powerful, because look at it. It looks like a sign off from the vice president himself. So it's like, wow, the vice president of Merrill Lynch is inviting me. Wow, I must be really important. So it appeals to people's egos. And you know, people who have these types of high positions, they have, on average, they have higher egos than most people in most cases. And then in the PS, we have a surprising free bonus. It talks about a free 9-page financial needs analysis questionnaire that will be distributed at the seminar. So even if people don't buy, they still get a free, you know, needs analysis questionnaire, which will give them a lot of value. And it's there. Like, if they come, they're going to be in a prestigious place. They'll be able to network. They'll learn some new stuff. They'll get this questionnaire. They get free sandwiches, free coffee. I mean, why shouldn't they come, right? I think the copy could do a little bit of a better job of selling this. And the reason why I chose this sales letter is because I think it's good, and I probably was pretty effective, but I just wanted to show you how it looks like when there might be a few other areas of importance, areas of potential improvement here. So yeah, and then the final note, you know, this just makes them feel like a VIP. This is kind of like a, hey, you know, if you have any questions about the program, anything at all, please write or phone me personally. I will be delighted to help you. So now, you know, you are a VIP if you're the reader, and you can get in touch with Ronald Goldberg, Vice President of Merrill Lynch, personally if you have any questions. So this appeals to their desire of experiencing world-class customer service. But yeah, all in all, I think it was effective. You can definitely model something like this. It would still work today. You could probably include a few more other copywriting tips and tricks that I've covered in previous videos, like from Megalogs or Agora sales letters, all, you know, cool case studies that you can watch in the full playlist in the description section. But this also has its merits, definitely, and I think it's a great way to sell an audience, sell something boring like this to an audience who's used to this type of language. So thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then definitely like it, share it with others who are interested in these types of things, and also subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.